Welcome to the Intuitive Therapist Podcast with Janis R. Cohen, therapist, clairvoyant, empath, and medium. Listen in as she takes a no-nonsense deep dive into real human struggles and how to resolve them. Janis will share channeled information from her spirit guide team, as well as the angels and archangels, to help you master your emotional, physical, financial, and spiritual destiny. And now, Janis R. Cohen.
Hey y'all, this is the Intuitive Therapist here, Janis Cohen on the Intuitive Therapist podcast, and I wanted to welcome you back. And today we're going to talk about something that's equal parts science and soul. And we're diving into a topic that I call reading emotional frequencies like a second language. And if you've just raised an eyebrow or leaned in a little bit wondering, oh my God, well, what does that mean? You're in the right place. You know how you walk into a room and without anyone saying a word, you know something is off? Or maybe you've met somebody and even though they were all smiles, something in your gut said, ugh, bleh, they were, ugh. No, something just does not feel right here. I know that happens to me all the time. Y'all know I pick up everything from everybody. And those of you who are also empathic and also psychic, you do the same thing. You could read a room, you know shit about people, you feel it, even though they're showing up in one way, you know the truth. That's your body reading emotional frequencies, and we're going to get into that, all of that today. And it's not woo-woo, it's not magic, it's energy, and it's very real. So I want to talk to you about what all that means, how to read emotional frequencies like a second language today. So everything in the universe is energy, everything. You, me, the chair you're sitting on, the trees, your coffee, even your emotions. And all energy has a frequency, which means simply a measurable vibration. And when we talk about energetic or emotional frequencies in humans, we're really talking about how feelings vibrate, how they move through us and through space. And we send our vibrations out into the universe. Think about it like you've skipped rocks on a pond or a river and you see the ripple effect of it, right? So we emit frequencies, okay? Our bodies send out energetic frequencies all of the time, and you don't even need to try to do it. You are an energetic being in a physical vessel, and so it's just natural. It happens. Now, here's the kicker. Your body is constantly broadcasting your emotional frequency, whether you're conscious of it or not. It's like an emotional radio station, always playing your current internal state. Love, gratitude, joy, these are high frequency emotions. Shame, guilt, fear, sadness, right? Those are low frequency emotions. Neither of these are bad or wrong. They're just frequency data. But this energetic data is always speaking louder than our words ever could. My husband hates it. I'm like, okay, honey, what's wrong? He's like, what are you talking about? No, what's wrong? And he'll tell me nothing, nothing, nothing. And then later he'll go, oh yeah, by the way, I really was bothered. And I'm like, I know, I knew. So everybody picks up on this. You don't have to be a full-blown, highly sensitive, empathic person or psychic to pick up on other people's energy. We do it naturally. You may not pay attention to it as often as you could, but it's a natural part of you. It's the expression and receptive of energetic frequencies. So that's why when somebody who has a magnetic energy, right, enters the room, people literally stop in their tracks to look at that person. And no words need to be said. Elegance is elegance. Confidence is confidence. Arrogance is arrogance. Light is light. Anger is anger, right? So let's get a little nerdy here, okay? I want to bring in a little bit of quantum physics. And no, you don't need to be a PhD for this, so just stay with me. Okay, in quantum physics, there is a concept called quantum entanglement. And this idea that particles, they have interacted, they can influence one another, even across distances. Have you ever heard of the butterfly effect? The butterfly effect is simply an magnificently that if a butterfly flaps its wings on one side of the world, then on the other side of the world, it's felt in some way energetically. That's how powerful energy and frequency is. They become connected energetically. So we human beings are like that too. We are constantly entangling energetically with the people and environments around us. Your heart, yes, your literal heart, it's an electrical organ, and it sends out an electromagnetic field that can be measured up to 6 feet away from your body. How cool is that, right? And the energy you're emitting, it carries information, emotional information. So again, you don't have to be psychic to pick up on how people feel. You can just know that something isn't what it is being presented as. And you're like, no, I don't think they're happy. Actually, I think they're pretty miserable. I don't know why. I may not be privy to that information, but I know what I'm seeing is not what I'm feeling. And that's why somebody can walk into a room without saying a word, and you could feel if they're joyful or angry or shut down or anxious. Your nervous system is reading their energy before your brain even catches up. Now, because if we can learn to read emotional frequencies intentionally, and this is what I'm talking about today, how to make it kind of like you have the intention to be able to read these things just as a part of who you are, like a second language, then we get to access a deeper layer of human connection and empathy and even this self-protection. It helps us trust our intuition, to navigate relationships better, to lead with the heart, and to live more aligned with our truth. Now, I always talk about living in alignment with your truth, and the more I've come into mine, the more I realize that I am even more aware of the truth about how other people are. I pick up so much more, and in light of that, I am compelled to be more of who I am. It's a very interesting experience. But here's the messy part. Y'all, this is for real. Our ego loves to hijack our efforts when we try to align with our truth. Okay? So your intuition is your inner compass. We know that, right? We know that each of us is born intuitive. We don't have to develop this muscle. The muscle we develop as it relates to intuition is listening, is honoring, is not dismissing, right? And not letting the ego interfere. Your intuition, it's this quiet, subtle, wise part of you that says, yeah, go here. Nope, step back. Or something's off. Watch out. But the ego, ooh-wee, y'all. The ego is so loud. The ego does not want nuance. It wants control, right? The ego says, prove it, justify it, stay safe, don't rock the boat. You can't do that. Don't say that. Don't do that. Play it safe. So we often gaslight ourselves, and I actually did a podcast maybe it was sometime last year, about how we gaslight ourselves. So if you don't know whether or not you're doing that, go back and find that episode, listen to that, because I'm telling you, it was very, very enlightening. So when we gaslight ourselves in our intuition out of what we feel, right? We gaslight ourselves out of what we feel. And gaslighting simply is this: when your intuition says something to you and you're like, oh, no, that's not true. We don't notice that. They're not feeling that. They're not upset. And your intuition is like, oh, but I'm feeling it all over the place. Your ego's like, stop, please. I don't know what you're talking about. That's gaslighting, because it doesn't line up with what looks logical or nice or acceptable. Your ego's like, no, 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 no. Don't do anything with this. But here's the truth. Your body knows before your mind does, every single time. That's why people say it just felt like something was off, and no words necessary. So how do you learn to read those frequencies in yourself and others? Well, like any language, it takes practice. It takes presence and it permission to get it wrong while you learn. And I'll tell you this, your intuition is never wrong. Your mind is, but your intuition isn't. Let's start with the first step, right? I'm going to break it down into 3 simple parts. And the first part is start with your own energy first. So you can't read others clearly if you're disconnected from yourself, if you don't know who you truly are, if you're not in touch with your emotions, your energy body, if really you aren't in relationship with yourself. So check in, okay? Here's several questions I want to invite you to explore when you check in with your energy. First one is, how do your emotions feel in your body? Like when you get angry or when you feel nervous or when you feel sad, like where does it live in your body? Okay. When you feel happy, where do anxiety, joy, shame, and peace live in you, right? And any emotion you have. What does off feel like in your gut? Maybe write that down or just sit with yourself, be with yourself and say, gosh, off feels like this. I often describe it, when we're kids, we learn about the uh-oh feeling. And the uh-oh feeling is it just feels ucky in our belly, right? So where do you have that where and when do you have that uh-oh feeling? Think back, like when you went into that job interview with your boss, when you had that conversation with somebody, when you walked into a room, you had that uh-oh feeling. What does truth feel like in your body? What does calm and peace feel like in your body? Just start getting used to what those things feel like. And then the more aware you are of what you feel, the more able you are going to be to pick up on the truth of the true nature of other people. When you're attuned to your own emotional frequency, it becomes easier to sense shifts in others, okay? So here's a practice tip. Every morning, ask yourself, I wonder what my frequency is today. And in other words, that's kind of like code for, how am I feeling? Am I waking up anxious? What do I feel right now? Just even what do I feel right now? I'm preoccupied, I'm worried. Okay, what are you worried about? Self. Notice the frequency you are operating in the moment, right? That's your frequency. Feel it. And here's, for those of you that are kinesthetic and visual, give your feeling a color, a shape, a density, a weight, a temperature, a rhythm. When I do this work with people, and I invite them to, because there are a lot of people that come to me and say, gosh, I just can't get rid of this feeling. So we find it in the body and we give it a color, we give it a density, we give it a shape, we give it a weight, and we give it a name, the name of whatever feeling it wants to be called. And then we take it outside of the body and we do work with it. It's the same thing. I'm inviting you to do that. Okay, just give it a color, give it a nature, and then it becomes something that you can go, oh, wait a minute. Oh, yeah, I feel that. That's what that feels like, right? So, okay, the second piece to this is observe without a story. Now, most of us are so fast to judge because we're filtering it through our conditioning, right? We're filtering it through these beliefs and these rules that we have about what's right and what's wrong. So we're fast to judge. You may say, and I do this too. They seem cold, so they must not like me. Now I don't say that anymore because I don't care if people like me. I really don't. And I hope you're closer to that point as well, because the closer you are to not caring what other people think of you, the closer to wholeness you are. And it's not like you're putting up the middle finger. It's just what people believe about you or what they say about you. It's none of your business. It doesn't matter because it doesn't belong to you, right? That's my whole point. So when you interpret somebody's energy like this, they seem cold, therefore they must not like me. It must be about me. That's when we are telling a story. Okay? Because other people's behavior is never about you. It's never about me. My behavior is never about anybody else. It's about me, right? So the quicker you can move away from interpreting somebody's behavior as it meaning something about you, the better off you're going to be. It's as if I'm inviting you to look at other people's energy as data, facts, like it's on paper, a number, right? So it's a story if you begin to interpret it. So instead, notice the data. Like, is someone's smile tight or soft? Are their shoulders up by their ears? Are they holding their breath? Is their nose flared? Their nostrils, right? Is their voice fast or high pitched? How are they walking? Do they make eye contact or flinch away? And these are clues to emotional frequency. They don't tell the whole story, but they tell enough to pause and get curious. And these clues are inviting you to trust your gut sense over your mind. The more you can do that, the easier a life is. Trusting your gut sense over your mind. Now, this third part is validating it with your intuition, not your ego. You don't need to explain everything you feel. You just need to honor it, right? That's a weird vibe that you got. That's your nervous system telling you something. That warmth in your chest when someone walks in, that's connection. The more you trust those sensations, the more fluent you become in the language of energy, and the less you will rely on your thinking mind to interpret them for you. You can just walk in and just literally be in observer mode. Don't have to try. You just like, interesting. I'm noticing what I'm picking up. And it's not about being right or wrong. It's just about honoring that settled sense that you get of how somebody's showing up energetically. So I wanted to make this practical, and so I wanted to give you 3 ways to build your fluency when it comes to reading people's energy as a second language. And the first is to practice energetic listening in silence. This is really cool, so y'all listen to this one. Next time you're in a room, I do this all the time. My husband does it too. It's really cool. And the more he's been with me, the more he's done it. Next time you're in a room, whether it's a coffee shop or you're in a meeting, you're at a family dinner, tune into the energy, not the words. Just you can even close your eyes and feel it. Or you can just watch people, right? What do you feel when you tune into the energy of where you're at? Where do you feel it? Have you ever played the game? I love this. This is always fun. Play the game with somebody. Let's say you're at a coffee shop or you're in the airport. I love the airport. I love people watching. Anyway, and you play this game and you look at somebody and then you create a story about what you pick up about them. This whole narrative about who they are, what they do, whether they have kids, they're married, they're this, they're that. That is always fun. And it's one of those things that if you were to ever be bold enough, which I don't know, I'm not suggesting you do this or not do this, but to go up to somebody and say, by the way, I just want to tell you I was playing this game about this story about you, and is any of this true? It's really, really fun, and you're living in flow. And whether or not you ever validate it by going up to somebody or not, it's still fun. And it's still just trusting that sense of being in your body and trusting your intuition. Now, the second thing is to play the frequency check game and ask yourself, okay, what frequency is this person operating from right now? Frequency meaning emotions, fear, control, anxiety, kindness, love, desperation, control, joy. Remember, you're not judging. You're just learning to name energy. And if you don't get an immediate sense from them, notice how quickly your mind steps in and it tries to interpret it. This is the whole ego piece. So when that happens, just bring your attention back to your body with breath. And once you feel reconnected with your body, then try it again and ask yourself, what frequency are they operating in? What emotion is this person operating from right now? The third is develop a 3-sense check-in, okay? This is really easy too. When you sense something, just ask these 3 things. What do I feel? What do I see? And what do I hear beyond the words? Now, if you're a student of intuition and psychic development, you're going to know that there are clairs. There are clairs. There are 4 significant clairs, and then there are other ones. And clairs mean clear. So when you're clairaudient, you're clear hearing. When you're clairvoyant, you're clear seeing. When you're claircognizant, you're clear thinking, right? When you're clairsentient, you're clear feeling. When you're clairaugustant, you're clear smelling. And there are other clairs, but it's the 3 senses. What do I feel? What do I see? What do I hear beyond the words? And this triangulates your intuition and sharpens your sensitivity. And this is a great practice because it keeps you rooted in your body and not in your mind. Your vessel and your heart are the only 2 reliable sensory mechanisms that you need to move through life. And the more you rely on them, the more you rely on your intuition and what you sense in your body, the easier it becomes to remain present and make powerful moves towards peace. And that's why we're all here, right? To get back to the truth of who we are, our natural essence, our godlike essence, our innocence, our sweetness, our awareness and the beingness, right? It's a lot of nesses. Okay, so reading emotional frequencies, it's really about more than just sensing energy. It's about reclaiming the wisdom that lives in your body. Because the more you're present with yourself, the more you can become aware of things around you, but not affected by them. And that's huge. Spirit just gave me that. The more you are aware of your surroundings, the less you can be affected by them because you understand that you are not your environment. You are part of the collective, not a separate part. You are the collective, part of the collective, right? So it's about reclaiming the wisdom that lives in your body. It's about presence, intuition, and empathy that transcends words. And y'all, it's not performance, it's a practice. It's a practice. And you already have this ability. You've had it since you were a kid, since you were born. Since you were born. Infants have this sense, right? Because the younger you are, the closer you are to God. Like you've just come from God, right? So you have that, the sweetness, the innocence. And even infants can sense when something isn't right. The world just taught you to ignore your intuition, right? As you became conditioned. And now it's time to remember it again. So speak its language and trust your damn gut. Because when we honor our emotional fluency, we stop betraying ourselves, right? And we stop calling in betrayful experiences. I think I just made up a word, betrayful. We stop calling in betrayal experiences. When we practice fidelity to self and we honor ourselves and we put ourselves first all the time, we'll never experience a betrayal ever again. It will never happen. That doesn't mean somebody won't be showing up in their habitual dishonest behavior. Can't help that. But you sure as hell can help how you respect and honor yourself, right? So it's a revolution, right? It's returning home to yourself when you honor yourself and when you listen to your intuition, when you trust it. I want to thank you for being here. I hope this was helpful. I thought this was a really, really cool topic. I hope you'll practice the steps. I hope you'll do some experimentation. And if you ever get an opportunity to validate what you've picked up from somebody, do it, because it's going to encourage you to trust that skill and that muscle more. So stay present and trust your body's signals. And as always, until next time, and always live intuitively.
Thanks for listening to The Intuitive Therapist. If you like what you heard, the best compliment you can give us is to share this podcast with a friend. And be sure to give us some stars and a favorable review at Apple Podcasts or wherever you listen in.